Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Secretary for Foreign Affairs Enrique A. Manalo and Madam Pamela Louise Hunt Manalo. Thank you. Please be seated. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, welcome to the historic San Agustin Church. My name is Andre Peter C. Estanislao, Director of the Office for Cultural Diplomacy. For your comfort and convenience, on your seats are specially crafted banig bags woven by the women of the province of Negros. Inside your bags are abanico hand fans, bottles of water, and tonight's playbill. In the unlikely event of an emergency, 3 exit doors will be used. Guests seated at the front and middle will exit through their respective right side doors, while those at the back will exit through the main doors of the church towards the patio. Security and PNP personnel will also be stationed along the church sidelines to guide everyone safely. May we also request everyone to turn their phones off or put them on silent mode so as not to distract the orchestra or take away from the listening pleasure of your co-guests. Tonight's performance is live-streamed on the Department of Foreign Affairs official social media pages for the viewing pleasure of everyone around the world. We also wish to inform that tonight's live performance will be available for public consumption through the Manila Symphony Orchestra's social media pages, including Spotify. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the Philippine National Anthem. Please be seated. May we now call on stage the Very Reverend Father Dante M. Bendoy, OSA, Father Provincial, Province of the Most Holy Name of Jesus of the Philippines, our gracious venue host for tonight, to give his opening remarks.
His Excellency Enrique Manalo, Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Cecilia Ana Firia, Assistant Secretary, Office of Cultural Diplomacy, His Excellency Charles John Brown, Papal Nuncio, His Eminence Jose Cardinal Advincula, Archbishop of Manila, Honorable John Marvin Yul Servo Nieto, Vice Mayor of the City of Manila, His Excellency Miguel Utray, Spanish Ambassador, Mr. Antonio Coanco, Chairman of the Manila Symphony Orchestra Foundation, members of the Diplomatic Corps and other government officials, ladies and gentlemen, friends all in St. Augustine, good evening. It is a great privilege for us Augustinians to warmly welcome you all to this historic San Agustin Church. We are deeply honored to gather here not only to celebrate music, but to embark on a profound journey through time. Tonight, we present the Harmonies of Heritage, a symphony of Philippine Colonial music, and we are grateful to the Department of Foreign Affairs for choosing this venue to explore and restage Hispanic colonial music in the Philippines. The San Agustin Church, an exemplary piece of well-preserved Baroque architecture, I would say, stands as the rightful venue for such a significant event. As we immerse ourselves in the enchanting sounds of compositions from this era, we pay homage to an important chapter in our nation's history. The melodies you will hear are echoes of our ancestors, reflecting the fusion of cultures and traditions that have shaped our identity as Filipinos. This concert holds special significance as we commemorate the 420th anniversary of San Agustin Church, the oldest stone church in the Philippines and the lone survivor of World War II. Here, the Augustinians have preserved the country's oldest cantorals and the oldest existing pipe organ. Music has always been an integral part of the Augustinians' daily life as they express their devotion through prayers and gatherings. In fact, we, the Augustinians, brought the first choir books to the Philippines. Eventually, some of these texts were written in Gothic letters, and the Gregorian music was lavishly decorated and illustrated. Among the notable organists, composers, and painters of these books were Father Marcelo Agustin in 1697, Father Lorenzo Castelio, 1732 and 1743, and Father Ignacio de Jesus Oli e Paredes from 1740 to 1747. A renowned Filipino composer and musician, Marcelo Adunay, from 1848 to 1928, spent his younger years here at San Agustin as a member of the choir and later became a music director. As part of our celebrations, we aim to revive classical music through the San Agustin International Music Festivals, cherished by the Intramuros community since the restoration of the pipe organ in 1998. However, the pandemic led to the closure of cultural activities, impacting the vibrancy of our community and the preservation of our historical artifacts. The condition of our 18th century pipe organ has declined significantly, requiring costly restoration and tuning. We believe that this instrument is not just a musical treasure, it represents an important part of our shared history and cultural identity. We likewise believe that preserving this pipe organ is essential for future generations to experience and appreciate the rich musical heritage it embodies. Therefore, we earnestly appeal for your generous support in restoring this important piece of our heritage. Your contributions will help ensure that this instrument can continue to inspire and enrich our community for years to come. Together, we can safeguard our cultural legacy and revive the spirit of creativity that the pandemic has challenged. Thank you for considering our appeal and for being part of this restoration journey. Thank you for joining us in this celebration of heritage and music. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Very Reverend Father Dante M. Bendoy. Coming together in celebration of our cultural heritage is always a pleasure. Now, to give the welcoming remarks, may we call on the Assistant Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs, Office of Cultural Diplomacy, Celia Ana M. Feria.
Honorable Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Enrique A. Manalo and Madam Pamela Manalo, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Agustinian family of San Agustin, colleagues from the Department of Foreign Affairs, our dear guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Tonight we stand at the crossroads of history and culture where time seems to pause and listen as we honor the sounds and voices of the past in a grateful and inspired present. It is with profound honor to welcome you to this special concert, the Harmonies of Heritage, a symphony of Philippine colonial music. Here within the walls of the San Agustin Church, a memorial to our past, we are not merely observers of history, we are participants in a living tapestry of sound and memory woven with the threads of our nation's soul. This evening's performance transcends the ordinary. It is a powerful invocation of our past, a journey back to our complex history. The melodies we are about to hear, brought to life by the incomparable Manila Symphony Orchestra, is a bridge to that past. We express much gratitude to the brilliant minds behind this symphonic journey, Dr. Alexandra Sandy Chua and Mr. Irvin Bibal. Their tireless research has uncovered the hidden gems of our colonial musical heritage, allowing us to experience tonight's performance not just as an auditory feast, but as a profound cultural revelation. This revelation will be transformed from the abstract to the concrete by none other than the acclaimed Manila Symphony Orchestra under the baton of Maestro Jeffrey Solares. I would also like to extend our sincerest and deepest and most profound gratitude to the entire San Agustin community, its esteemed clergy, and dedicated staff for graciously opening the doors of this magnificent sanctuary to us tonight. Your unwavering stewardship of this iconic site not only preserves its storied past, but also illuminates the path forward, ensuring that it remains a timeless beacon of our cultural and spiritual heritage for countless generations to come. Thank you. As we immerse ourselves in the music that will soon fill this sanctuary, let us be reminded of the universal language that culture, in this particular instance, music, speaks. It transcends borders, touches hearts, and brings us closer together as a global community. The harmonies we will hear tonight are not just echoes of the past, they are calls to the future, a future where culture continues to be a powerful force for unity, understanding, and peace. And now, it is my great honor to introduce a true visionary in the field of cultural diplomacy, a leader whose unwavering commitment to our nation's cultural and diplomatic missions continues to inspire us all. Please join me in welcoming our host who commissioned this historic concert and who will deliver tonight's keynote address. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Enrique A. Manalo.
Thank you very much, Assistant Secretary Feria. His Excellency Charles John Brown III, the Papal Nuncio and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Their Excellencies, Ambassadors of the Diplomatic Corps and their representatives, the Very Reverend Father Dante M. Bendoy, OSA, Prior Provincial of the Province of the Most Holy Name of Jesus in the Philippines, Reverend Father Ricky B. Villar, OSA, Director of the San Agustin Museum, Reverend Father Reynante B. Balilo, OSA, Parish Priest of San Agustin Church, Reverend Father Alvin V. Arig, OSA, Provincial Treasurer of the Province of the Most Holy Name of Jesus in the Philippines, Manila Symphony Orchestra Chairperson Antonio Coanco, Intramuros Administrator Attorney Joan M. Padilla, colleagues in the Department of Foreign Affairs, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this evening's concert entitled Harmonies of Heritage, a symphony of Philippine colonial music. Tonight we gather not only to celebrate our nation's cultural heritage, but also to mark a historic milestone, the 420th year of the existence of the beautiful San Agustin Church in Intramuros, Manila. The San Agustin Church stands as a testament to the resilience and enduring spirit of the Filipino people. Its walls have witnessed centuries of history, serving as a sanctuary through times of peace and conflict, joy and sorrow. This evening, as we fill this hallowed space within the sounds of our colonial past, we are reminded of the Church's role as a beacon of faith, culture, and community. Music has always held a special place in the hearts of Filipinos. Through music, we express our deepest emotions, tell our stories, and connect with our history. Tonight, we shine a light on the distinct melodies that have emerged during the Spanish colonial era, a period that has left an indelible mark on our cultural identity. As we are treated to a carefully curated set of chorale pieces, hymns, and instrumental compositions that have once enriched religious festivities and captivated the faithful with their solemnity, we will hear the unique sound born of the blending of European liturgical styles with indigenous Filipino elements. And though the words and the melodic styles of these songs are in Spanish, we are confident that the universality of music as a language and the exceptional artistry of the Filipinos will shine through in tonight's interpretations. I wish to extend our deep gratitude to the Very Reverend Father Dante M. Bendoy, Reverend Father Reynante B. Balilo, and Father Ricky Villar for their generosity of spirit and unwavering commitment to preserving the magnificent historical site and for hosting tonight's concert. And I likewise thank the Manila Symphony Orchestra, the Manila Symphony Chorus, and our talented soloists and Maestro Jeffrey Solares, who continue to honor our musical heritage. I also acknowledge our esteemed researchers, Dr. Alexander Chua and Mr. Paul Irvin Dibal, who have meticulously labored to document this era of our musical past and whose research is contained in the playbill that you now have. And I'm pleased to inform you as well that the live recording of tonight's concert will be shared with our foreign service posts and will be made available on Spotify and other social media platforms. Lastly, I'm grateful to the Diplomatic Corps and all our esteemed guests. Your presence and support this evening are much appreciated. In the next hour or so, may the alchemy of music transport each of us into the past, and may we be left with a profound appreciation of our nation's rich musical legacy. Thank you, and enjoy the concert, and mabuhay.
Thank you very much, Secretary Manalo and Assistant Secretary Feria. May our country's culture and music continue to thrive. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Maestro Jeffrey Solares and the Manila Symphony Orchestra and Chorus. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the Manila Symphony Orchestra and Chorus under the baton of Maestro Jeffrey Solares. Please enjoy the show.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this historic concert, because for the first time, we will be listening to music that has been written over 100 years ago, but many of these have not been performed. So we'll have a lot of premieres in tonight's concert. I'm very, very overjoyed when we were rehearsing this piece to realize that such music was written by a Filipino over 100 years ago. That particular piece, Lukson ng Dugo, was from a zarzuela by Juan de Sahagun Hernandez. And it could easily be played side by side, works of Giuseppe Verdi and Bellini and all these operatic composers in Western Europe. And so we're very happy that this project that was initiated by the Department of Foreign Affairs will add to the canon of orchestral music that orchestras in the Philippines and all over the world can perform. So thank you very much, DFA, for this project. The next piece is one of the oldest material you will listen to today. It has a very peculiar title. It's called Letra en Tagalog, which means lyrics in Tagalog. So the title is just about the fact that the lyrics are in Tagalog, because at the time and until only in the last maybe 100 years, most of the songs written in these lands were either in Spanish or in Latin, what you will hear later. But this one was one of the earliest manuscripts discovered that has words in Tagalog. It's a devotional piece of music. The music is very short, only about 12 bars, but repeated 5 times. And the text is Tagalog. And I hope those of you who speak Tagalog, you'll be able to understand. But here we will, the music, the original music is only one melody. But a French musician turned it into a 4-voice melody. This was written in the 17th century, 18th century, more or less contemporary of Johann Sebastian Bach and Mozart. And so the sound that you will hear is similar to the chorales of Johann Sebastian Bach for 4 voices. And for tonight's performance, I've doubled the voices with the sound of the orchestra. And of course, for this program, we will be assisted by our friends, which we now call the MSO Chorus. Okay, they're here. And here now is Letra in Tagalog by an anonymous composer in the 18th century.
Amen.
The next piece is another anonymous work discovered in a church in Baclayon, Bohol. The title is Misa de Sales. They discovered all these ancient manuscripts in a cantoral. It's, if you saw, I think there was an exhibit outside of an old manuscript cantoral in ancient archaic music notation that none of our musicians can understand. But it was translated into modern notation by our researchers. And this piece is very special because it has polyphonic voices, which was apparently during that time was very rare in the Philippines. So you will hear here the soprano voices and alto voices singing together, and then the tenors and basses separate. So, but you know, the unique thing, well, maybe it's difficult for these these composers who were just learning the art of composition to write in three voices. So most of the time, you will hear only the soprano and then alternating with tenor and basses. So at least there are two voices. So it looks like three, but it's mostly only two voices at the most. They only sang together as three voices in Amen, in the very last two bars of the piece. Okay, so we'll play for you the Kyrie and Gloria from Misa de Sales, as discovered in 1827 in a church in Baclayon, Bohol. 1827 is special. That's the death year of Beethoven. So Europe is that advanced, no? If you want to see the context, historical context, comparative historical context of this music that you will hear, this was written, no, in Bohol, the year Beethoven died. Next, we'll give you an example of a villancico, which is a devotional song, but usually about Christmas. This is entitled Villancico para Navidad. Just a bit of background. Most of these pieces were not written for orchestra. So the things we did is to orchestrate them for tonight's performance. And this is one of the last two pieces you've heard were actually orchestrations. Actually, the original manuscript is just for voice. There's no written chords or accompaniment. But, of course, we would assume, for example, the Misa de Sales in Bohol, they had pipe organs in the old churches in Bohol. So they would have sung this with accompaniment, with chords, because also the melody fits very well into the structure of this Western harmony. So now this is a Nació Pastores, a villancico. And here is our soloist, Charina Balmores, and Villasin, Sopranos, and Ruzzel Clemeno, tenor. So that was early Filipino Christmas music. Can you feel Christmas in that song? I can feel Christmas the moment I saw one of our audience members, Mr. Jose Marichan, here. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, we continue with Jose Rizal. Okay, Jose Rizal is our national hero, and apparently he also did something musical aside from dying for our country. So he wrote, when he was 19 years old, a student at the Ateneo, which was walking distance from here. He wrote Junto al Pasig. And in Junto al Pasig, there's some musical numbers, and we will perform for you one of them, Orillas del Pasig. And for this, let us call on tenor Carlo Falsis. The next number is an excerpt from one of the earliest zarzuelas. The zarzuela is the equivalent, I think, the Spanish equivalent of the opera. And here we have one of the earliest written by a Filipino, by Ignacio Masaguer. And for this, we will call on soprano Myra May Meneses to join our tenor Carlo Falsis. The title of the piece is Viaje Redondo, or translated as Round Trip. It's apparently the love story between a Spanish woman. So the Spaniards, when they are in the Philippines, they are called the Peninsulares. Those who are born here are called insulares. I'm not sure if I'm related to them. I'm Jeffrey Solares. Okay, so this is Viaje Redondo, Round Trip by Ignacio Masaguer. Thank you, Sir Carlo. The next song is again by Jose Rizal, the text by Jose Rizal. It is one of the poems that you can find in his novel No Limitang Here. It's about missing your country, how good it is to be back in your country. Recuerdo a la patria. And Rizal apparently commissioned the composer Ladislao Bonus to write this. So he himself asked the composer to set this poem in No Limitang Here to music. And that is what we will hear today. Let us listen to our soprano Myra May Meneses with the Manila Symphony Orchestra.
Thank
The next number is very special because it is a symphony. It has the title of a symphony composed by a Filipino composer in 1927. So it's almost as old as Manila Symphony Orchestra, which is founded in 1926. So MSO is just 1 year older than this symphony. And apparently it has not been performed yet. We don't know whether it was performed when it was composed, but certainly we'll be able to play for you one movement, the finale of this symphony by Jose Estella. Apparently he wrote this because a foreign composer, which was not specified, I will ask the researcher later who this foreign composer was, challenged him and told him, it will take you years before you can write a symphony. And in 2 weeks, he composed the symphony. But apparently it took him 98 years before it could be performed. Okay, so this is Symphony by Jose Estella. I'll tell you more about this, my suspicion, who this foreign composer is. Okay, this is by Jose Estella. It's the fourth movement, and it is based on the Philippine folk song Magtanim Ay Di Biro. So this orchestra, the Manila Symphony Orchestra, carries the name and history of the oldest orchestra in the Philippines and in Asia. So we were founded in 1926. It's understandable that before MSO was formed, nobody wrote any symphony. So this one, 1927, very, very close to the start of the history of the MSO. And I could just surmise that MSO didn't play this because it's not in the, we have some archives in our history. We have the programs that was played, and this piece was not there. It's not written in the repertoire of the MSO. So we're very, very happy that before we reach 100, we could play these pieces that was written for orchestra by Filipinos. The last piece we'll perform for you is by Maestro Marcelo Adonai, who worked for 30 years as the organist in that organ above us here in San Agustin Church. He's one of the foremost Filipino sacred music composers. He would write in the romantic style. His harmony is richer, no, than what we've heard so far. The harmonic language is richer. And so while we were rehearsing yesterday here, I told the musicians, make sure you don't make any mistake. Otherwise, we'll hear the pipe organ tell you the right notes. Okay, we're ready now. Let's have our MSO chorus back on stage. And we'll have our soloist, Angeli Benipayo and Nerissa De Juan, sopranos, together with Gregan Rebadeo and Gary Fabricante. Here is the credo from the Pequeña Misa Solemne by Marcelo Adonai.
Thank you, Maestro Jeffrey Solares and the entire Manila Symphony Orchestra and Chorus for bringing to life Philippine colonial music.